Welcome to the Death Happens podcast, an insider's guide to dying. We're your insiders. I'm hospice nurse Penny.
And I'm Hallie, hospice social worker. Today, we have another hospice nurse with us. We're going to have hospice nurse Julie on the podcast. But before we get to her, I know Penny has a hot topic for us.
Yeah, so, something hot that's been going on social media, and it may not sound like it's related to death and dying, but it is, and I'll tie it in and you'll see how. But Elise Myers, who is very famous on social media, she is a comedian, has
And the
left,
sweetest possible
and the
human
sweetest,
being.
nicest person ever. Yes.
Yeah.
She has left TikTok, and she left a note saying that she was taking a break from TikTok after she had been bullied for not speaking on what's going on in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And this has become a trend lately where big creators are being targeted for not speaking out on Palestine. And there is actually a creator on TikTok, and her sole purpose for being on TikTok is to find a big creator, target them, and then get her followers, and she's got 40 or 50,000 followers, to bully that person if they are not speaking out on Gaza. So how this relates to hospice is that this recently happened to me and a couple other hospice nurse creators, where somebody with a very large platform came after us and said that we are experts in death and dying, and therefore we should be obligated to speak out on what's happening over there. Now, I really didn't get into it with this person. First of all, I want to say he and I were mutuals. I really enjoyed his content. He has 2.2 million followers on TikTok. He's got 500,000 followers on Instagram. However, those are not the platforms he's using to talk about what's happening over there. It's almost like he doesn't want to risk his platform because he knows he's got followers who are going to disagree with him. And so he doesn't want to risk those big platforms. So he created another platform that has only about less than 10,000 followers, but that's the one he used to call us out on.
Mm-hmm.
So, the thing is I am an expert when it comes to natural death and dying.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert when it comes to death by trauma, especially not by trauma caused during a war. I have no idea what that's like. I'm just as naive about it as anybody else, and it's so interesting to me that there are these people who just think that because we have big followings, we are obligated to talk about these things.
It's absurd to me that social media creators are being obligated to talk about anything, when the news channels aren't doing it.
Right.
Or they're covering it in a certain way or whatever. Like, I just don't understand it. Like,
Yeah.
if you, I get if they're talking about things that are negative to human beings and, calling them in and saying, hey, maybe don't talk like that. Or, I'm just thinking about like Dylan and the whole Bud Light scandal that happened back whenever. And like people speaking out negatively about a human being, then yeah, call them in, call them out for that. But speaking out about things that you're not 100% sure of, or that's not your expertise or whatnot, I don't understand. I'm so grateful that I'm not a big creator at this moment.
Yet. Well, so another, a big creator, Scott D. Henry, very big creator, recently posted a video because he had also been targeted, and pretty much said, when movie stars or famous singers or sports figures come out politically and say something, state their opinions, like Taylor Swift, people tell them to shut up. It's not their place. And yet they'll come onto social media and tell social media influencers that we need to talk about these things. And he pointed out that many of those who are bullying the bigger creators have small accounts, and they think that by putting a watermelon in their profile, that somehow that's going to change everything. Like that's going to.
By the way, what even is a watermelon? I don't know.
I think it's the colors of the flag in
Oh,
Palestine.
I mean, how are people even supposed to? This is what drives me
Mhm.
insane about social media.
Yeah.
Things happen so freaking fast. How
Yeah.
does anybody keep up? And if you're not constantly scrolling to know what the hell's going on, I
Right, right.
mean,
And to Scott's point, he actually did post videos that were taken down because they had some graphic pictures of children
yeah.
over there that had been attacked in Gaza. If you are not following a person and going to their page every day and looking at their videos, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to see everything that they've posted. So
Yeah.
you don't even know. So some of these people are going after these creators and saying, you should be speaking about Palestine. And the creators are like, I did. You didn't see that video because I did speak about it, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
and for me, the creator that came after me said, I know that you've spoken out about trans rights before, and so I'm so disappointed that you won't speak out on this. And I know about trans rights. It's a little different. It's a totally different topic. You know, I know that the Middle East has been in discord for, I don't know, centuries maybe. Like this goes back way, 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 way back, right? That this has been
Mm-hmm.
going on, and I am not an expert in what is happening over there. And I will say this: I I think it's horrible when people are killed. I, children, women, men, civilians,
Yeah.
animals. I think war is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. I hate that it's happening, but I personally can't control that. I don't own it. I can't control it. You know, I can do what I can do. I can and
Mm-hmm.
have donate money to, you know, Doctors Without Borders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can boost the videos that I see, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to speak about something that I really don't feel I have the expertise to speak on. You know,
Well, and
I
the
can,
irony is just having heard a whole year's worth or more of people of color, black creators, global majority speaking out and saying, "Hey, when when we're telling our story, we're giving information, then it's important for you as the non-global majority to listen and not speak."
right,
And so it's
right.
the opposite of what we just went through learning
Yeah,
of trying to be
exactly.
more
Like,
understanding and
yes.
uh
Yeah.
you
And
can't
you know,
win.
and here's the other thing that I've noticed. When the war started in the Ukraine, I did post one video about that, just basically speaking about the fact that I am Ukrainian,
Mhm.
um, and that it's a terrible thing that's happening over there. And that was just basically supporting, right? That's still happening,
2 years later,
but
nobody's
nobody's
talking
talking
about it.
about that.
Let's not talk about
Nobody's,
how that also literally affects our security in the world.
yes.
But
Yeah.
but that's just like, oh well, it's 5 minutes ago, so forget it.
Exactly. Like, yeah, where's that big dick energy there? You know, like you want me to speak about Gaza. Why aren't you talking about, not only are you not talking about Gaza yourself, or you're
Yeah.
doing it on a tiny little platform and not your big one,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not talking about Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's horrible too. I mean,
And
yeah, it's
Gaza and Israel is such a nuanced conversation, and people don't want to have nuanced conversation. They want to have black and white, and that's not how
right.
it works.
Right.
You can be supportive of Israel and the hostages, and also hate what Netanyahu's doing and how the people of Gaza are suffering, and that there's a ongoing issue with not having two states. I mean, uh
Right. There two things can be right at the same time, two things can be wrong at the same time.
yeah.
You know, and also uh, well, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I had an important point to make. I can't remember what I was going to say now. Oh, it had something to do with all of that. But oh, I remember what it was. Okay, sometimes people go on social media because they want to get away from the reality of what's on the news every day, and
Yes.
they don't want to tune in and see Elise Myers talking about a dark subject. They want to see her talking about something fun and funny because we need that comic relief.
Also,
I'm a
that's what we
hospice
found
nurse.
her for. That's the
Yeah,
that's the thing.
exactly.
We went to Elise Myers because she was giving us a hilarious story about a taco date.
Yes,
All of us know that
exactly.
story.
Right, right. And I'm a hospice nurse, and people, they come to my platform for the content that they know I post.
Yes. Yes.
Hospice, death,
Absolutely
dying,
the best
dark
point.
humor, sober
Yeah.
journey, living in my off-grid cab, whatever. They're not coming here to hear me talk about something that I don't know shit about. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's the best point of all of it, I think.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Well, let's shake that off because we're going to talk to Julie.
We are going to talk to my bestie, hospice
That's
nurse
right.
Julie. Let's do it.
Welcome, Julie. We're so happy
Yay,
to have
bestie.
you.
Hello. Hi, ladies. My favorite
Well,
ladies.
I'm so glad to
It's about
finally meet
time.
you on this video. I know you've known Penny for a while, so
Yeah,
maybe just first start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born on a cold November day. Just kidding. In 1982. No, so my name is Julie McFadden. I've been a nurse for 16 years. I started doing social media stuff. It'll be 3 years this May. So around now, it'll be 3 years where I've taken the alias as Hospice Nurse Julie and educating the general public, like yourself and Penny, about death and dying. And I mean, there's so much more about me, but that's the internet gist. That's the
Perfect.
Hospice Nurse Julie gist. Yeah.
Well, and I know you've got a book coming out. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But first, I would love to just chat about. I know you and Penny are BFFs. How did you two get to actually meet in person?
I know, it's so funny, Penny, because I'm like, Penny, go ahead, but you're supposed to be interviewing me. Penny and I met like one of the first days I got on TikTok. I like reached out to her, being like, "Hey, this is all new to me. What should I do?" I followed you right away, Penny. And then I saw that you were sober, and I said I was sober too. And I remember you followed me right back, and I don't know when we started doing like all the voice notes back and forth.
It was almost immediately.
Yeah,
It was within the first couple of days after you reached out.
We started going back and forth. Yeah, and now Penny and I honestly talk every single day. Every single day.
We do.
About all types of shit. And then we finally met, I guess, oh my God, was it 2 years ago now? 2 years ago for Amanda's funeral.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago for Amanda's funeral. We did
Amanda's funeral. There was a young lady on that we raised money for on TikTok, Amanda, who was dying of breast cancer. And when she died, Penny and I both went to like her celebration of life. And that's when Penny and I met for the first time in real life.
IRL.
Since in IRL, yeah. We've met again since. And I've been to her cabin in the woods. I've met Randy and Pam, her cat.
Not yet, Kevin, though, huh?
Not met Kevin, though. I haven't met Kevin.
Not Kevin.
No. Soon enough.
Yeah, and we did our retreat. We hosted a retreat.
God, that's right. We had a retreat together.
Yeah.
I met her daughter. That's right.
We almost killed each other making a video together.
Almost killed each other.
That was bad.
That was bad.
My knee is finally better.
Oh
that was a year ago when we did that. Yeah. And we act like we're 20 when we get together.
Did that with no just caution to the wind. We didn't even think,
no safety awareness.
Twice about it. We didn't even think twice about it.
What were you doing? I must have missed this.
Well, that's what I mean. It's crazy. If you actually see the video, she is. Wait, I was standing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was standing up. She had her legs wrapped around me, I think.
Yeah.
And then I went to go like flip you up.
Yeah, was backward. We were like back to back, weren't we? I think.
Girl, I can't remember now.
I remember the heart one. You're like, trying to make a heart.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Oh, that's right. You had your legs wrapped around my waist, and then I was going to lean back, and you were going to flip up and be like, bada,
yeah,
or something. And then I used all my fucking force.
And I weigh a ton.
And we both flipped.
Oh my gosh.
And we could have, I have this huge glass table in the middle of my living room that we seriously could have been seriously injured on. Anyway, the whole point is that like afterwards we were like, what the hell were we thinking?
Hospice nurse antics.
Yeah.
Don't just go
It's
to the
about
cruise.
quality of life, not
Exactly.
quantity of
That's
life.
right.
Because you're remembering to live, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
But
That's
my
right.
knee was fucked up for a long time. And your
No.
neck got messed up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were hurting for sure.
Oh my
In fact, the
goodness.
last time we got together, like every time we're going to get together, we start sending each other videos of like, oh, we should do this, we should do this. And last time we just kind of it was
Like,
it was like unspoken. We just
yeah.
kind of laid on the couch and watched TV, and we didn't even talk about making a video. Like we had plans, but I think in the back of our minds, we're looking at that glass table going, yeah, I don't think so. Let's just
I
pass this
know.
time.
And like I kind of love that. I feel like Penny, even less and less now, like even our like phone conversations and our voice notes are less and less really about social media. Like we kind of do. We'll still like have like bitch sessions about like what's going on. But
The
like
algorithm.
our like friendship has morphed into like something else now where
Yeah.
we're kind of just like talking about our life, and which has been really cool. Yeah. Not that I mean I still want to do TikToks and stuff, but you're right. It's like I feel like we also can just sit on the couch and watch TV and like be on social media together, and
Yeah.
it's cool.
When you mentioned TikTok, I'm assuming that with that time frame, COVID was kind of an instigator.
When I did TikTok, you know, it really wasn't for me. I didn't get on until like later 2021, I think. COVID was definitely still going on, but it wasn't like in the thick of it. It happened for me because I finally got to go home to see my family. So it must have been like opening up a bit. And it was like perfect timing. I had a couple friends whose parents were dying, and they were calling me a lot about like what to expect. And I was kind of just rattling off the things I always rattle off to everybody. And they were like, oh my God, I can't believe you know this stuff. Like, why am I just now hearing this stuff from you? Like, how did I not know that you like knew stuff like this? And it's kind of funny because in my real life, if you say you're a hospice nurse, most of my friends are kind of like, cool. They don't like need to hear about it. So this friend of mine was encouraging me to like tell people about the things I knew. And then I went home and I saw my nieces who are like tweens. They're teenagers now. But and they were on TikTok. So I got on TikTok to watch dances and like kind of do things with them and see the different trends. And then that's when I was like seeing other people my age using TikTok in another way that I didn't realize it could be done.
Like
And
Penny.
that's where, that's where it was like born. Like I remember seeing like someone gardening and someone like talking about space and like biology and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I should talk about death and dying. And then I did. And then it kind of like took off pretty quick. So it was like easy to kind of keep up because it kind of like happened right away.
Nice.
Which was nice. Yeah.
Well,
I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise.
You're a nurse. That's what you're known for.
That's right.
How did you get into nursing and why hospice?
I got into nursing because I was 23 and sorry, I'm like messing around here. I got into nursing because I had a degree in psychology and I was working on a mental health unit and a woman had fallen and like cracked her head open right in front of me. And instead of like helping her, I almost became the second patient. I was like, I didn't help her at all. Like I did not go down and help her. I ran away and I got the nurses. And even with the nurses, I was having a hard time talking. Like there's a woman, she fell, she's bleeding. I couldn't even say all that. They had to like sit me down and be like, what's happening? What's going on? And I remember thinking like, I cannot believe these people like ran to this girl, and the girl ended up being okay, but it was a really serious fall. She ended up getting like 18 stitches in her head and it was like horrific. But I remember thinking like, that's amazing that they could run to her and like know what to do. So that was like my first little inkling of like, I might want to be a nurse. And then my best friend was in nursing school, like in this accelerated program where you can get your 4-year degree really quickly. And I had already done the 4-year thing. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. No way. So I just did what she did, the program she did just a year and a half later. And once I started nursing school, I was like obsessed with it. I loved it. I didn't realize how much I loved biology and physiology and pathophysiology and anatomy, all the things that you learn. I loved it. So that got me onto nursing. And then I was an ICU nurse for many, many years in Baltimore, Maryland. And being an ICU nurse is what made me really want to be a hospice nurse. And then just one day I kind of like took the leap and just did it.
Tell us the story about the patient, the ICU patient.
Oh yeah, the ICU patient. I wish I could tell you. Well, I'll tell you guys his real name later. I love him so much. But in my book, I call him Scott, which is my dad's name. But yeah, I had two ICU patients that I can really think of that really made me kind of switch over. But I always use this one example, and we'll call him Scott. He was a young guy who came in to have a Whipple procedure for pancreatic cancer.
For people that don't know, what's a Whipple procedure?
Whipple procedure is, I can't really describe the actual surgery. I probably could have at one time in my life, but basically only a certain population of pancreatic cancer patients would qualify for a Whipple procedure, which reroutes things and like basically helps you live longer with pancreatic cancer. But it's
they tie off part of the...
They tie off parts and like put other parts together. Again, this is so sad. At one point, I could have like rattled that off for you.
I know, same. When you're a hospice nurse,
we don't need a lot of medical details.
Like, right. Information has gone. But yeah, it's a big procedure. Anyone, at least back in that day, anyone getting the Whipple procedure would go to the ICU after the surgery. And this specific surgery helps you live longer with pancreatic cancer, but many people can't get it. You have to like meet a bunch of different criteria to be able to even get the Whipple procedure. So it was very common for patients to get this done, and they're in the ICU 3 to 5 days, and then they go to the floor, and then there's of course recovery there, and then they start their journey with chemo, radiation, all the things, still with pancreatic cancer, because at the end of the day, pancreatic cancer is terminal, like for the most part. Even if you get the Whipple, it still may extend your life, but you will likely die from that disease. But this patient, Scott, came in very typical. He was young and very typical, did a good 5 days in the ICU, did well, went to the floor, ended up coding on the floor because of a bilateral pulmonary embolisms. So probably would have killed him if he was home, but he survived because he was in the hospital. They resuscitated him, they intubated him, put him on a breathing machine, a bunch of IV blood pressure medication to keep his blood pressure up, his heart pumping, all the things. Brought him back down to us. And because I was his nurse prior, they gave him to me. And then our unit, which was great, liked to keep the same nurses with the same patients, especially if they're there for long periods of time. And just to like kind of make the story shorter, he had that one complication and actually started getting better. We would get him better, almost enough to get him extubated and going to the floor. And then something would happen again, over and over and over again. Some kind of infection, aspiration pneumonia, another, blood clot somewhere, like something would happen just over and over and over again. And his husband was there day in and day out constantly. And his husband was so sweet, so anxious, so nervous. And I felt like I really knew Scott because Scott wasn't always intubated and sedated. Those 5 days when we were walking around getting him out of the ICU, he was so fun and so happy and like ready to start this journey, positive. And you would see like little glimmers of that even through like being intubated and sedated. He would because you have to do like sedation vacations sometimes and kind of try to wake him up to see if they can get off the vent. And he would like put his thumb up and, he was just so amazing. This went on for probably 6 months.
Wow.
6 months in the ICU.
That's brutal.
Wow.
You get wounds. You get wounds no matter what. You can get, he got C. diff. So there was just so many things going on. His toes and fingers turned black, totally necrotic. And that happens for anyone listening because the vasopressins we keep people on to keep their blood pressure up, which is helping them live, right? Also constricts your vessels so much that you don't get blood flow to your fingertips because those vessels are too small. So fingers and toes black and not waking up, just getting worse and worse and worse. Now he has wounds. He had a thing of C. diff. C. diff is, if anyone listening, you will just have like complete diarrhea all the time. So then you get wounds because you're in bed. It was just horrific, right? And after so long, I was like, we are not talking about what is actually happening here. What? We're going to get this man well enough so he can have surgery so he can get his fingers and toes cut off because those are necrotic now. And that's going to cause a systemic infection.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get that done, then he's going to go to the floor. Then he's going to start treatment for pancreatic cancer. That, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? I get chills thinking about it because I can't. And then I thought, and his husband has no idea. People don't know. We think people understand. He doesn't understand. So I remember one day in rounds, I was still a new nurse, probably 2 years in. And this was an intimidating hospital. It was Johns Hopkins. They weren't doing anything wrong. This is just what happened there, right? Like, this is just what we did. But
I think it's really common that doctors aren't talking about, they're only talking about treatment. They're not talking about the switch to end of life.
Yes, right. And then there, it's like, there's the attending, there's the fellow, there's the residents, there's the med students, there's the nurse. So all of us are in this rounds, which go from room to room. So finally one day I was scared, but I just spoke up and said, like, I think we need to have a family meeting about, I can't remember my exact words, but it was something about the future and like what's going to happen and the care plan from here on out. I think we need to have a family meeting about what's really happening. Something like that. And like everyone there suddenly was like, yes, 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 yes. And like the people were clicking and ordering stuff. And I was like, oh my God, they all thought the same thing. And just nobody
said anything. Well,
no one said anything. And then we had it. And the hard part was, because I had never done that before. The hard part was it happened that day, you guys.
Wow.
It was like, great. Social worker, chaplain, doctors, me, the nurse, like everyone got together that day. And I was kind of like, wait, this is like going too quick. I didn't realize we were going to do this so quickly. I didn't say that, of course. I was like, okay, you think this is good. Just do it, Julie. So we were honest with his husband. And of course that day his husband was like, oh my God, no, he wouldn't want to live like this. No, we need to turn off the machines. Like if you're telling me he's not going to make it, like, I don't want him living like this.
Yeah.
And he died that night. Like he died by the end of my shift, you guys.
Wow.
Which is okay. That's the better outcome.
Yeah.
But I was like, even because it was the first time doing it, and it basically felt like it happened because of me, which is okay. But it still was like, damn, okay. I spoke up and he's dead.
Yeah.
It's like my initial thought when I went home and I was like crying, but I also knew my voice mattered in that moment. And I also knew we did the right thing. And that's kind of like started me down the journey of like, I got more courage to start speaking up with different ICU patients again and again. And then finally I was like, if we're going to die, people are going to die. Like we should be doing something else. Like we should have been talking to this family long before we did. Yeah. And they should be not in a hospital and they should be home. So that's how I started. It was very long-winded story.
No, I'm surprised that you didn't stay in the ICU to be more of an advocate by that story.
Well, there are other reasons too. I mean, it was like secretly killing me. It really was. I really hated nursing. Like I hated nursing. I thought I made the wrong choice. I hated doing it. I had compassion fatigue. I couldn't like hurry up and care. My personality did not work well with the ICU. I was too high strung. Like it was just awful. I hated nursing in the ICU. I hated it.
You did it for a long time though, didn't you?
I did. And I drank a lot.
You drank, right.
I mean, I'm an alcoholic, but I'm an alcoholic. So I probably would have been drinking a lot anyway. But like, I definitely used alcohol to cope, like for sure off of like, I would leave and start drinking.
Are you still seeing patients now? Are you active in hospice?
I do still see patients, but I only have to technically work 4 days a month. So some months, depending on what's going on, I'll only work those 4 days. And then sometimes I want to try to start working at least 2 days a week or something, because for my own mental health, honestly, it really actually helps me to have like a structure. And I actually like my job. Like I really like it. So it's hard to self-motivate sometimes when you don't technically have to do it, right? It's like, but I always do so much better when I do it. But this month in particular, just because I've been busy, I'm working the last 4 days of this month. And then starting in April, I'm going to try to work 2 days a week.
Nice.
And then the other few days do social media stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're asking all of our clinicians in the field, what is your favorite death experience, if you have one?
Oh my God, I have so many. I have so many favorite death experiences. They're all been really amazing.
You can
I
say more
think the
than
one
one.
that always stands out. What'd you say?
You can say more than one.
Yeah, I sit here for like 20 minutes being like, and then there was this one guy. Um, the one that sticks out, I don't know. There are seriously so many, but the one that really sticks out that's, oh God, there's that one too. No, I'll do this one. The one that sticks out is very brief. It was a family I didn't really know. I saw them like twice, but the husband changed like on a dime. Like he was at my visit. Like I'd saw him before. I liked him. He was super funny and fun, and his wife was funny and fun, and like the kids were there. It was just a really fun family, you could tell. And he was not actively dying. Like he wasn't even transitioning, I would say. He was like, didn't, he seemed close to death, like maybe a few weeks, but not really even transitioning. The first time I saw him. And the second time I saw him, I was thinking maybe he's getting towards a transitioning phase because he's like sleeping more and in bed and the things that they were telling me and stuff. But he was still there with his wife and his children, and they're all laughing and talking as I was going on. I did my full assessment. Everything looked okay. And then all of a sudden, he changed on a dime. He changed on a dime and was like actively dying. I don't know what happened because he wasn't like that. And nothing really seemed to have happened except for all of a sudden he kind of like did that death stare and like never really came back.
Mm.
Has that ever happened to you guys? Where like someone
as soon as you said that, I immediately have the image of my patient. Same thing. Although I'd been seeing him pretty often because I felt like he was transitioning. And the day that I went to see him, he was alert, but he was somnolent. And but same thing, like all of a sudden, he just changed, and I told the family, I think he's got minutes left.
yeah.
He looks very close to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and he did die during my visit. It was just like that. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know.
That's how it was with this guy. He was not somnolent because that he was still like laughing and talking, but definitely in bed and definitely getting weaker. You can just tell he was getting in that transitioning phase, and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of out of nowhere he like stared off and then like never came back and changes in breathing. And I was like, oh shit, this guy's gonna die, And like I knew his family didn't know, and his family was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
I like got his wife and got his kids, and I showed them, hey, I think something has changed. I think he's going to go. I think he might even go today.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's my favorite is because of how the family reacted. The family did not fall, and this is okay if you do this, right? But like they were like on a dime too. Got in bed with him, kissed him, hugged him, loved him, said a bunch of sweet things like, thank you for
Mm.
loving us. Thank you for loving me. You were so easy to love. We love you. We love you. We love you. And then the guy died,
That's
like
beautiful.
right there. And it was like, damn. Like,
So my situation was a little different because it was his two adult daughters and his wife, which was a second marriage, so she wasn't the mom to the daughters. And as soon as I
mm-hmm.
said, I think he's probably going to die within minutes, each one of them grabbed a body part, and Hallie and I talked about this the other day. Started stroking the hands, doing this business, the stroking the hands, and one of them was at the foot, and they're all like, "It's okay, Dad. It's okay. We love you. We love you. It's okay. It's okay." And I stepped out. I said, "I'm going to go sit in the kitchen and chart for a few minutes, and you come and get me when you need me." And I was in the kitchen charting for like 20 minutes, and I thought, what the heck? Why? He can't still be alive. And I went back in the room 20 minutes later, and they were still doing this to him. And I said to one of the daughters, "Is this something he would have liked you to do? Like, did he like you to dote over him in life?" And then she literally dropped his hand. She just went, boop, dropped his hand and said, "I got to go to the bathroom." And the other two, they did this. They were like, "Yeah, we got to go." And they all three left immediately. And so then it was just the dog under the bed and the guy and me. And so I stepped out and went in the kitchen, and I said, sometimes we can keep people here if we do things that make them feel uncomfortable. It doesn't allow them to like really be comfortable enough to leave. And however long that conversation took, which was just a couple minutes probably, I walked back into the room and he was dead.
Yes, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those stories are good reminders too, that even when someone's on hospice, we as the experts can still be surprised.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of
Yeah.
course, our lead-in always has to be, well, nobody knows for sure, but I'm going to give you my
Yeah.
best guess.
Yeah.
You know, death is unpredictable, and sometimes
that-
I've been
Sorry, go ahead.
uncannily right, and sometimes I've been embarrassingly wrong.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Embarrassingly wrong. Right. It's right. When I'm like, yes. I mean, and that goes to show too that everyone needs different things and people die how they live. Like just because someone's dying doesn't necessarily they're going to be wanting tons of affection.
Mhm.
Right.
That's not how they are.
No.
You
No.
know?
It's so interesting that people, and sometimes I think people, if they don't know what their person wants, they're just going to project what they would want onto
Yeah.
them. They assume that what they would want would be what, you know, what their person wants. And yet I think, who really wants this? Does anybody really want this? Like, hold
I'd
my
be like,
hand, that's okay, but
"Stop."
that's constant stroking seems so annoying. I can't even imagine.
Don't stroke Penny.
Or Hallie.
Dying.
I don't
Or
want it
Hallie.
either.
Or Hallie.
Can
I
we
don't
do
know
that
what
to
I
you,
want.
Julie?
I wouldn't want constant. No, I wouldn't want constant.
I mean, like a
anything.
nice hand massage with lotion.
Sure.
That would be nice. Or
Yeah,
hold
and
my
then
hand.
kind of like let me be. What I think I would
Yeah,
like
yes.
the most would be hearing not tons of noise, but kind of like a little background noise, like people going about their day, making sandwiches, laughing and talking together away from me.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I just hear the little clitter clatter.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I can nap. Like in life, like I can't ever nap. If it's too quiet, if it's too loud, I can't nap. But if people are doing a little bit of shit around the house, there's something about that can help me relax. Like, oh, people are still here. They're doing their stuff. I can relax. And then I can nap. So I bet that would be how it would be when I'm dying too.
Well, as the social worker, you know, I'm required to ask you if you have your advance directives done. Julie.
5 wishes?
Damn it, you
Do
guys.
they have five wishes is everywhere, right? Not just
yeah.
Washington?
I mean, I
It's
have my
everywhere.
5 wishes because we did it at the retreat.
Uh-huh.
That's a
And
start. That's a start.
People know what I want, and the reason why I went like is because I'm full code as of now. I always feel like it doesn't matter as much, but that's not true. It's not true. I still need to have it all done.
Tell the people. Tell the people,
I
Julie.
know. I know. I still need to have it all done. And man, oh man, I need to practice what I preach. So my 5 wishes is done. And like, I tell my sister and stuff all the time, like the things I would want and need and what to do and my passwords and stuff. Like she has that. But even now, like, even though again, I'm young, but I still have like my financial stuff in order. Like my sister is my beneficiary. I do have all that stuff done.
Is she your healthcare power of attorney?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well,
So
like Penny says,
I guess I do have some stuff done.
You started your
Yeah.
conversations. That's the most important part.
Yeah. And you've got, I think where you're at your age is appropriate. You've got a healthcare power of attorney designated. She knows what you want. She knows
that's
those
great.
Important things.
Yep.
It's
She knows
not
passwords. She has a key to my house. She's the beneficiary on all of like money stuff. But as far as like a true advance directive with a witness and stuff. Well, I don't know. I guess 5 wishes does count, doesn't it, Penny?
Sure does.
You do have to have it witnessed, don't you, Hallie?
Well,
Hallie's the advance directive expert. I do think you have to have witnesses for it. It's
all about the healthcare power of attorney. The healthcare
Okay.
power of attorney is the one that has to be witnessed, because otherwise you're going to be around to tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when your sister has to make the decisions for you if you can't.
Yeah. That's the
right.
one that
And
has
if
to be
you're
witnessed.
using the 5 wishes to designate your healthcare power of attorney, then it has to be witnessed. But if your sister is designated in a different legal document, then the 5 wishes don't need to be witnessed. They're just more of a guide for her to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
but
the reason why I said the whole 5 wishes thing is because didn't we witness each other's? Like, couldn't we just be the witness, Penny,
did
of
we?
each other's, or
We
no?
might have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we might
Good.
have. Because
Yeah.
Eden was there too, so we might have witnessed yours.
Yeah.
I had
Eden was
mine
there
done, so
too.
I don't think we would have, or maybe we did witness mine. I don't remember. It's a blur.
I know.
That
That was
was
a blur.
6 months ago, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, a long time ago.
It was.
Well, just before we get into your book, I do want to ask you how your social media experience has been now that you've grown in size since first coming on 3 years ago. And we were talking just before you came on about the craziness with Elise Myers getting bullied and large platforms being just trying to be forced into talking about things that they're not comfortable with or it's not their platform. So how's that been for you?
Man. So that part, I mean, knock on wood, I have had a little bit of bullying, but not much. Again, knock on wood, because I wouldn't handle it well. I think, I mean, I don't know, people emotionally, I wouldn't handle it well. That would be really, really difficult on me. That would be something that could take me out. Not take me out of life, but I mean, take me out of the social media
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Like, I'm not going to stick around if it's making me feel like absolute shit every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
End of story. Like, I liked my life before social media.
Yeah.
So this has been an amazing thing that has happened. Something that I've never, I feel like everyone says this and maybe everyone means it. I know I do. I really was not expecting what has happened to happen. Like, as far as it's grown and like how my life has changed now, where I'm more social media than I am actually nursing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I don't know how long that will last. Probably not forever, And like I said, I really like my job. I liked my job. And I worked per diem before I was ever before I ever was hospice nurse, Julie. I did that purposely so I could like my job. Yeah, and so I'm grateful. It's been a huge learning curve. I've had to really work at not treating it, because I can really get carried away. I mean, I'm kind of like, I have an addictive personality, so I can really use like social media numbers, all the things that I can cling on to, like views and how well am I doing and is this working? Do people like me? I can really cling on to that to make myself miserable. So I've really had to like work somewhat of like a program, like a 12-step program kind of thing around social media as well. So I don't feel so addicted to it. Like, I don't feel so addicted to like that dopamine hit of like getting a viral video, or
Well,
like,
they're made to do that, right? They're made to sustain that dopamine. That's why we keep coming back.
that's why we keep doing it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I want to be able to feel good whether my social media platforms are doing well or not. And I worked really hard to kind of maintain that. I don't totally, but I do a little bit. And I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful for that. And like, some days are harder than others. I mean, Penny knows. Sometimes I can call Penny and just be like,
I hate
do not
social
feel
media.
good.
Take
I
a
hate it.
break.
I do not feel good. I hate it. I feel so much anxiety. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't want to do it, And then like the next week, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. This is so.
And for me, that always correlates with the numbers, unfortunately.
I know.
Like, it's always like, right now I'm in a great mood. All my accounts are doing great. Everything's hitting. I got more followers, more likes, more views, more money. And then in a day or two, it could be like, I hate social media so much.
I know.
Sucks.
Mine doesn't always correlate with numbers. Mine will correlate with like, it can, don't get me wrong. It definitely can. But like the thing that fucks with me the most is like the feeling of not wanting to make videos, but feeling like I have to.
Yeah.
That like with like the book thing is like, that book thing has kind of messed me up. Like, I mean, I'm grateful that I wrote a book, but I do want it to do well. And I'm not, this is the first time where it feels inauthentic sometimes, where normally I could just like, fuck it, I can't make a video because nothing's coming to me and like, I'm not going to fake it. Oh, well, I'm going to wait till I feel inspired or wait till I feel like I want to say something. With the book, I don't like that feeling of like, buy my book. Will you buy my book? Here's a clever way to buy my book. Ugh, I hate that. But I still have to do it. It feels like I have to. Well, that's not totally real. I don't really have to. No one's making me. But so I don't like that feeling. I wish I could. I want to try to get inspired to like make videos about my book that don't feel like a little inauthentic, you know? So I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but that doesn't feel good. So that's where I get a lot of my, like, when I feel really, really bad and feel like I have like tons of anxiety, it's because of that. It's like, I have no fresh ideas on how to get people to buy my book. And then the feeling of like, get people to buy my book. It sounds so, you know? So
I think that comes to a point Penny was talking about again before we had you on, is that unless you're on someone's social media page all the time, you're not going to see every video. And so for you promoting your book, you do have to keep releasing it. Otherwise it will get missed.
I know.
It feels to you like every video is about that, and it might be, but for one person or another person or 100 people or 100,000 people, it might be the only time they're seeing you advertise that book.
Right.
Yep.
So,
I know.
and that's a great segue.
Yes, it is.
Tell us about your book.
Look, my book is coming out in June 11th, but it's out for pre-order now. And it's called Nothing to Fear, Demystifying Death to Live More Fully. And it's a book that's meant to, it can be read from cover to cover, but you don't have to. To me, it's definitely a more educational book. But because I don't want it to be like a textbook, because that would be horrific, I also weaved in my opinions, of course, and stories, and advice. So it's like a stories with education. So it's meant for anyone who's going to die, which is all of us. And
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
In case you didn't know,
gonna die. And it just takes all of my videos, I would say, and formulates it into a book. Formulates into a book with stories interwoven. So you could literally pick it up and go to chapter 7 and just read chapter 7. You know, and like there's chapters to the caregiver, there's chapters to like the person dying, there's chapters to about, you know, the process of death and what that looks like. There's chapters for like deathbed phenomena. And then of course, like within each chapter, there's just stories that relate back to the information.
Has it been a tough process working with publishers, editors, and things when you're trying to figure out your words?
So yes, the process was hard, much harder than I thought it would be. Or no, I just didn't know what I didn't know. You know, like all of this has been, again, I'm grateful because all of this has been, it feels like just given to me, just kind of like thrown my way. An agent reached out to me. The agent helped me write my whole proposal. And I was kind of like oblivious. I truly was like, who's going to want to read this book? Like I told them over and over again, like I can't write. I told them like, I don't really read books. Like, I don't know how this is going to work, you know? And the next thing you know, I'm getting like a major ass book deal. It's just been like so otherworld. It's just so unbelievable. So I just didn't know what I didn't know. And it was much harder than I thought. and much more time consuming than I thought. And my editors were great though. People I work with, like I gave them the final manuscript and was kind of like, ugh, I don't know, you know? And then they really did make it what it was. Like the editors that I worked with at my publishing company, they organized it in a way that's beautiful. They like really made it look and feel really, really good. Something I can be proud of. And then it still takes a lot longer. Like, and then once that's done, there's still a whole process of like getting it actually out there. So the whole process has taken almost 2 years. So
wow,
it's like 2 years in the making. I kind of cannot wait. I cannot wait for June because it just feels like I'm so happy for it. I'm proud of it. And also then it's going to be like, oh, it's done. This is done. The project's done.
Well, as I'm watching the clock, I want to make sure we honor our time. Is there any final thoughts on hospice, what you want people to know? And then where can people find you and where can people find the pre-order for your book?
I feel like you guys covered a lot. There's always more to be said, but it's like maybe on another podcast I can always come back.
Yes, we love that.
But you can find me on all social media. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. My YouTube channel I'm really proud of. I feel like that's the most different channel out of all of them, meaning like I actually put production into it. They're longer videos.
And
I really
it's
love my YouTube
excellent.
channel.
It's so, the videos are so well done.
Oh,
I have to
thank you,
say, I
Penny.
love the YouTube videos. They're really, really well done.
Thank you. And I go live at 5 every Wednesday on YouTube. So that's where I can answer a lot of my questions. But the point of saying that is all of those social media are under Hospice Nurse Julie. So you just look up Hospice Nurse Julie. And then for my book, you can, I think the easiest way would be to go to hospicenursejulie.com. And then you'll see little links there so you can see where you want to buy it. And my book comes in like, the hard copy, paperback, audio, and
Is
Kindle.
it on audio already?
Yeah. It's not, I mean, you can't get it yet, but you can pre-order.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
but you're going to record it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Great.
I have like a date in the studio and a director who's going to help me do it. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be my voice. And it's going to be crazy because I'm dyslexic and I can barely read. So good luck. Good luck, director, who's going to be helping me do that. But yeah, so hospicenursejulie.com is where they can get the book. And it's out June 11th.
Yay!
Well, thank you so much, Julie, for coming on. And we look forward to having you on again in the future.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for all you do.
Bestie.
Thank you.
Love ya.
I'm finally able to say I met Hospice Nurse Julie, your BFF.
Yes, yes. And I knew that would be one of my favorite interviews because I always love talking with my bestie. I mean, we just are very simpatico. We're very much alike, and it's so much fun to talk to her. That was a really, really fun interview, and we will be putting.
We could talk to her for hours.
Yes. I mean, I think that's going to be how it is with all of our guests. We just know some fucking awesome people. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
Maybe season 2 will have a longer format. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe our guests won't be as exciting in season 2. And then we won't end every show with, we could go on for hours. No, that's never going to happen because we only want to talk to cool people like us, right?
Yes.
So we will be putting all of Julie's links in the show notes. So definitely go check out her website, hospicenursejulie.com.
Go pre-order the book.
Go pre-order the book. Yeah, excited for her. I'm very excited for her.
Exciting. And I'm excited for more of our awesome guests to come along when we get to record with them.
Yes.
But until then, remember to live.
Because someday we'll all be dead. All of us. Spoiler alert. Everybody who's watching this podcast will someday. Everybody who's listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, just know this. You're going to die. Sorry. But that's okay.
Bye.
Bye.